Non-Maladaptive Daydreamers just amaze me. I have so many questions for you, like, how do you do basic things? I'm not saying that you're incapable, I'm just so confused as to how. My whole life I have used maladaptive daydreaming as a way to do pretty much everything. Somehow maladaptive daydreaming is intertwined with everything I do. So the idea that there are people who don't have maladaptive daydreaming at all in their life and have never maladaptive daydreamed and don't even have the ability to maladaptive daydream just amazes me. I don't understand how somebody can do things without it. That's not to say that it's bad, it's something I've never experienced before, and I'm so curious as to you. I have put together a list of questions for non-maladaptive daydreamers. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to ask them all in one video, so we are going to ask a few of those questions in this video. I have no idea where we're going to get these non-maladaptive daydreamers from, because my whole channel following is just maladaptive daydreamers, so where we are actually going to get these non-maladaptive daydreamers, I have no idea. This one kind of makes me sad because I can't believe that there are people who don't do this. But when something amazing happens in my life, something exciting and something I'm so proud of, I will daydream about it. I will tell my paras. I will, put it into my paracosm. I will ride out that joy. I will take whatever is happening in my life and I will put it into my paracosm and relive it over and over and over and over and over again. When something amazing happens in your life, something that you are so proud of and brings you a lot of joy, how do you keep that joy going? Because us maladaptive daydreamers, we get to relive it as many times as we want. We get to live that experience more than the average person, and so it's hard for me to accept the idea that people, live through events and that's it. Like, once they've lived through an event, that's it. They don't get to relive it again. I understand that people do have memories and stuff, but it's not the same, When you are maladaptive daydreaming, you experience everything, from the emotion to the physical pain or the physical joy. You get to relive everything. You get to be in that moment again, and that's so much different to a memory. So something that non-maladaptive daydreamers do that help them relive that event more, because it just seems so sad that you don't get to relive it over and over again in the same way that maladaptive daydreamers do. And see, I don't know, maybe there is something that non-maladaptive daydreamers do that maladaptive daydreamers don't do. That's why we're here asking questions, right? Next question. Now, how do you non-maladaptive daydreamers get out of tricky situations? I don't know if this is a maladaptive daydreaming thing, and if I am, better at this because I'm a maladaptive daydreamer, or if it's just that there are ways that I haven't learned to do this because I rely on maladaptive daydreaming. So I feel that I am amazing at getting out of tricky situations because I put whatever is happening in my life, whatever the situation is, and I put it into my paracosm. And I have so much support in my imaginary world. I have my paras, I have all of this emotional support. And when I put that scenario into my paracosm, I can relive that event as many times as I want. I can put different situations and different solutions into my paracosm to figure out which is the best solution for this situation. and it helps me come up with ways to get out of those tricky situations. It helps me brainstorm ways to deal with whatever is going on. A way to kind of help you understand is, you know, Doctor Strange, where he can see heaps of different possibilities. It's like that. I always thought that, you know, being a non-maladaptive daydreamer and having to think about those horrible things in your life would be too difficult, and you wouldn't. But when you're a maladaptive daydreamer and you're putting those situations into your paracosm, it's almost therapeutic, because, you know, you have all that support in your paracosm. So it doesn't feel like it's as painful to come up with a solution to those tricky situations. In my mind, a non-maladaptive daydreamer would actually have to think about the actual problem instead of manipulating it so that wasn't as painful to think about. Does that make sense? So I feel like it's less hurtful and it's less uncomfortable for me compared to a non-maladaptive daydreamer to come up with a solution. I might be wrong, because obviously I'm not a non-maladaptive daydreamer, and I don't know if there's something you guys do that we just have no idea about. That's the whole thing. My third question. This one is kind of sad. What is it like to be completely alone? Now, let me backtrack. So I have dissociative identity disorder. I have multiple identities living in my brain. Even if you take maladaptive daydreaming out of the equation, I still am not alone because I have dissociative identity disorder. I want to clarify though, people with DID and maladaptive daydreaming are allowed to feel alone. It's different, you know what I mean? You're allowed to feel like you don't have anyone you can turn to, but it's just odd to me, you know. I've mentioned this before, but unless I'm in a daydream crash, it feels like there is stuff happening in my brain 24/7. It never turns off. There is always something happening in the maladaptive daydreaming world in my head. Always something happening. It's never turned off. It's always playing in the background, even if I'm not actively daydreaming. It's always happening. And it's like that when I am actively daydreaming, I'm just taking a look at what's happening, because it's always happening in the back of my mind. But non-maladaptive daydreamers don't have that. So I don't know. It's often comforting to know that there are people in my head living a life while I'm living mine. So we're kind of living parallel to each other. So alone means something different. Does that make sense? I can feel emotionally alone, but there is always something there, you know what I mean? Something I'm curious about, do non-maladaptive daydreamers have like an inner voice in their head? You know what I mean? So maybe you don't have paras, you don't have things actively always happening in the back of your mind, but maybe you have like an inner voice that is always there. That sounds kind of comforting. I mean, it's better than not having anything there, right? Unless it's mean, then maybe not, but I don't know. This is my final question, but I think it's one that I'm the most confused about, for at least the questions that I've asked in this video. How do you deal with hard emotions? So, like I've already said, I have dissociative identity disorder, which means I deal with flashbacks a lot. When I have flashbacks, I rely on my paracosm and my paras to help me cope. Every time something horrible happens in my life and I'm having trouble dealing with those emotions that come with whatever has happened, I use my paracosm as a way to process what is going on, a way to keep my emotions under control, a way to manage them. It confuses me. How do people who don't maladaptive daydream deal with those emotions. I always wondered, maybe that's why I'm so okay with being alone. You know, I love people's company, but I don't seem to like it as much as most people do. And maybe that's because I'm a maladaptive daydreamer and I don't have to rely so much on other people to help me with things like this. I don't feel alone. I'm not alone, ever. If you are hurt and you are overwhelmed with emotion, how do you cope? Do you just have to You guys are so confusing. I don't even know how you guys do it, but honestly, non-Maladaptive daydreamers, you amaze me. Wow. That's all for this video. I hope you've enjoyed. But before you do go, if you don't know, I have a vlogging channel. You can find all of the information for that in the description. And please go check it out. I'm actually vlogging today. Exciting. I've already got a few vlogs up on the channel at the time of this video is made, and I can't wait to see you all there. Do you have any questions for non-Maladaptive daydreamers? Ask them. I don't know, again, I have no idea where we're getting this non-Maladaptive daydreamers from, but maybe one day they'll be answered, right? I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope everyone is okay.